Welcome back to Straight Facts on Friday. I'm joined by Don and Staffy. How are you both, gentlemen? You both well and good?
Yeah, good, man. Good.
No.
We just had a little kerfuffle in the group chat. You know, Dan Potts once again being obsessed with Mikhailo, and now it's ended up being in the fucking title, blood. You know what I mean?
It is in the title. We're going to get on to Don's crazy Mudryk take a little bit later. And I will say this up front. I've got Don's back on this. I got his back on this. So wait for that later in the show. We're going to be talking about Man United versus Arsenal. Is it still a big rivalry? What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? We're talking about last night's games as well, with Tottenham losing, Chelsea with a win away from home, but a really competitive game with Copenhagen. I thought it was really entertaining. And of course, Man United picking up a draw away in dreaded Spain for us. And it is dreaded Spain. 20% win ratio we have away in Spain, in our club's history. We don't like it. So I'll take that one on board. But I did want to start the show, gents, with a conversation about Big Ange Postecoglou, George's expressions, many phone calls on talk. Their Spurs fans are fuming, absolutely fuming across social media. Most calling for his head, angry at the starting lineup. They were bad last night. 0 shots on target in 90 minutes against AZ Alkmaar. Staffy, do you think the end is nigh? Do you think the sacking of Big Ange is getting closer?
Well, personally, I didn't see the game because obviously they were playing same time as United, and I just watched the highlights after. And there's only so much the highlights can show you, really, if you don't watch the game. But I looked at the highlights. I didn't see anything inspiring at all. I don't really remember seeing anything where I'm like, oh, wow, Spurs could have been 1-0 here or this or that. It was just AZ Alkmaar, and I mean even the goal they conceded is comical. You're saying they had 0 shots on target? No, they had 1, and it was on their own goal. That's so they did have 1. But in terms of Ange getting sacked, listen, you can't sack him right now. I believe. I mean, listen, you're out of 2 cups. You're still in the Europa League. I think the time to act should have been like before January. I did think like early in the season they've reached a point where it doesn't matter to me who's at fault. Is it the manager? Is it the recruitment? Is it the players? Sometimes you could just tell when it's the end of the road between a club and its manager. And when the relationship just becomes too toxic and it reaches a dead end, you're better on moving on. I think that they kind of like passed that. They really don't have anything to play for the rest of the season outside of the Europa League. So there's no point of doing that right now. You got to keep him. If he gets knocked out, he gets knocked out. I mean, they still have a very good chance to still advance. They got, as he said, next game at home. The narrative will change if they go and they spank them like 4-0. I do remember the Ange out talks kind of calmed down when they like went on like 4 in a row. They had like 4 wins in a row recently.
3, I think. 3 or 4. Yeah, 3 or 4.
3 or 4. So they kind of calmed down and they're just coming back up. I hear what they're talking about. I heard Kate yesterday saying even the football's not even good anymore. So I kind of hear it, but no, I wouldn't sack him right now. If the season is over and they're out of the Europa League and they want to move on to a different direction, I guess sack him and get an interim. But it would be illogical to do it right now.
What you're saying, Don? Because there's been a lot of the narrative from a lot of Spurs fans has been get off the manager's back. We've had the injuries, the bad form, the bad performances were because of injuries, but they've got a relatively fit squad now. And, so when I was listening to expressions last night as a case in point, just saying, look, the injury excuse was there, but people are back. The squad's thicker. They spent money in January and still there is a lack. I mean, there was a lack of desire last night. And I think there was have you seen the free kick? Have you seen the free kick that's gone viral? The clip
I didn't watch the game.
There's this free kick they took, and when you've done your bit, they try to take it short and pass it around, and it honestly was like watching a. Have you ever watched like veterans play Sunday League football, like 40-plus-year-olds try and play Sunday League? It's like that. It's like their bodies don't move. They don't know what they're doing. It was just horrendous, but it does feel now like a lot of Tottenham fans have just lost it with Big Ange. Like the excuses are almost over, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. Because even before the injuries, they were having similar sort of problems. When it comes to injuries themselves, you got to look at him and his training methods, right? Because there's one too many players that are picking up like hamstring injuries. You've got Solanke. His injury record before he came Spurs, you know, wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't the worst. Now you're seeing him getting injured again. He just came back, you know, rushing players back. Like, remember when we played Spurs, he brought back Romero and Van de Ven for that game, and they both got injured, bro. I'm pretty sure they both in the first half, right? So you got to look at that. And tactically, when you speak about Ange, you know how he's going to set up. You know he's going to invert both the fullbacks. You know he's going to leave the centre backs to the back. You know he's going to play people out of position, right? It's just a recipe for disaster right now, isn't it? And he doesn't want to change his ways. That's what's killing him right now. He doesn't want to change his ways when it's very clear to see that what he's doing is not sustainable, and it hasn't been, you know.
I think he did change his ways, though. I'll be honest. I just don't think it changed to the better. Because I watch him now.
How does he change his ways, though? He still plays the same way.
No, but so like Kate was saying that yesterday, and I don't pay attention to Spurs that much to break it down. But the football doesn't look the same. Like, you could just look at it and be like, okay, they're not playing the same way, same football. They're not as entertaining as they were. They're not as attacking as they are. I feel like he tried a little bit more defensive approach. And it's not like they're a good defensive team. They look like a scared team now. And I don't know how to explain it better than that. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
I don't have the best breakdown for it. Spurs were losing while just playing gung-ho football. Now they lose and they just play coward football. That's the difference that I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like they just went one step back anyways. And they were already bad.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
it took a step back while you were bad. It just makes it worse.
Yeah, when I watch some of these players, it kind of just feels like they're fed up. Like, they're fed up of this system, bro, because it exposes too many of their weaknesses. That's one thing, innit? As a manager, you've got to make sure that you're maximizing as many strengths as you can, on the pitch. And for me, it just feels like he focuses on the attack, and then the defense, he just kind of negates it, you know. But that's a big part of the game, right? If you go look at how many goals they've scored, they're down there. But go check, bro. They've got, like, how many goals right now, Terry, in terms of the goal
I mean, I actually haven't looked, but I can look now very quickly. They have, considering where they are in the league, their goal difference is astronomically good for a team in 13th. 13th in the league. They have a plus 14. They've scored 53 goals. To put that into context, City have scored 53. Chelsea have scored 52. Forest at a third have scored 44. Arsenal at a second have scored 51. So they are the joint second highest goal scorers in the league. Only Liverpool have properly eclipsed them on 66. So they score goals for fun. Defensively, they've been poor. And if you put in the comments saying, Terry, there's still injuries. Look, of course, and every team has them, and I'm sure AZ did. I don't even need to look. Everyone has injuries. But this was their starting lineup last night. Vicario, their number one goalkeeper. I know Spence has only come in through the injuries, but I actually think he's better than a lot of their other defenders.
He is.
They've got Archie Gray, who's been a phenomenal young player. Danso, they just spent millions on. Okay? Udogie, they all rate as a left back.
Isn't Danso on loan? Danso's on loan, right?
No, they bought him.
I thought they bought him. They bought him. Madison started, Bentancur, Bergval, who's one of their star signings, Brendan Johnson, £50 million signing, Tell, that they were buzzing about getting, Son, one of their greatest ever players. Off the bench came Solanke. He then came off injured again, but Solanke came on. Porro came on. Sarr came on. Okay? They had, on the bench who didn't come on, they had Basuma, Romero, and more, the three names I've heard of as an example. So for me, you're just at a point where you're always going to have some injuries, Tottenham. But there comes a point where you can't be leaning on that. You can't be using that as an excuse all the time. For me personally, I just feel as though, okay, so it says no, Danso and Till are both on loan. So I thought I read that.
I just checked. Danso's on loan, but obligation to buy in the summer.
Right. Okay.
Then that's where I got it.
Yeah. Obligations to buy. I just take that as you bought them because you're going to buy it. But yeah, I hear your point. But they've invested in him for the future as an example. So I just don't look at that Tottenham team last night, and I don't want to shit on the Eredivisie because I don't do the whole Farmers League thing, sometimes for a joke, but when I'm talking seriously, I don't. But they're a fifth place team in the Eredivisie who have also got 4 or 5 players out injured. I'm not saying you should be guaranteed to win, because that's disrespectful to the European football. And we've seen many, many upsets and many great games over the history of it. But they didn't lay a glove, boys. I had the game on. It was pitiful to not have a single shot on target. The only shot that went on target, and George said this brilliantly in his video, was a misplaced cross that the goalkeeper caught. That's the only shot, because that wasn't even a shot. It's the only thing that their goalkeeper had to do. That isn't good enough. And I do like this analysis for a bit of fun. but I don't know how to ask this question without it sounding almost reductive in a way. Could this also just be what happens to Spurs in big cup competitions as well? Is this not just Spurs doing what they typically do, which is not turning up when they're meant to in the knockout stages of competitions? Because this does feel, irrespective of the manager, most of their lives, even when they've got to the final, at some point in the knockouts, you get last night's performance from Tottenham. Is it just sort of systematic of the club?
No. So yes and no. I mean, yeah, we can historically say they don't turn up in big moments, and that's why we say they always bought it. But we used to say that at least when they were good. Like when they lost the Champions League final and they didn't turn up, yeah, they bottled it because they never turned up, and they were actually a decent side at that year. This season, I mean, the game you just described it to me, you might as well could have described me a Premier League game because they've been doing it throughout the season. Mm-hmm. So this is not an anomaly where I'm like, oh, you guys just didn't turn up because it was a big moment and you shied away. No, you just haven't been good this season, and the league says it, and the fact that they're out of the other two cup competitions says it. This is not an anomaly. This is not it's nothing different than what they've showed us for the majority of the season. They're at 18 losses this season. It's insane. 18 losses in a season.
Like, we actually ruined their season ever since last year when we battered them.
That game. It's just ever since then. It reminds me of when you've all seen Rocky 4, right? You're gonna get the reference. You've seen Rocky 4 with the Russian, where Apollo.
Yeah.
When Rocky, I think it's round 2 of the fight, he cannot hurt the Russian. Ivan Drago can't hurt him. Then he cuts him with a punch, a bit of a lucky punch. And then you see the doubt creak into Drago's mind where he goes, I can be hurt. It's what you guys did to Spurs. I felt that first 10 games, they felt invincible. Then you guys beat them. Ever since then, they've just not been the same outfit. They've just looked a shadow of that first 10 games.
No, 100%. 100%. They're falling off, man. For me, I think it's time for a change in the summer. I think with how Ange wants to play, bro, you need to make sure that you're backing him heavily. Right? And if you don't do that, if it's a half-hearted one, it's just not going to work. They need a manager that's going to be able to work with what they're given. And for me, Ange isn't able to adapt to the team, bro. Like you're saying, even with the injuries, they've still got enough to make a mill. You've still got enough to beat that team you played yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm in a group chat. One of my boys is a Spurs fan, and he was angry, bro. Throughout typing, I'm seeing they're still playing Tell up top. They're playing Son on the left. Like Tell is not a striker. Yeah, I said this from the beginning. Tell is not a striker. It's like playing Rashford as a 9. You need to play that guy on the left if you're going to play him, right? And then you play Son up top because he hasn't got the legs anymore. Yeah, I'm seeing Son coming out after the game talking about it's a wake up call. What do you mean it's a wake up call? This is the 18th loss of the season. Wake up call.
Like, how did you not wake up before this?
Yeah.
That don't make sense to me. That's just them, innit? That's Spurs.
Yeah. Do you know what's really interesting with that message? I saw it trigger Spurs fans, and rightfully so. Like, what do you mean wake up call now? At the same time, and we'll get on to Man United later, but Amorim was interviewed yesterday, and I might be taking this slightly out of context because I haven't listened to the whole thing, but he basically said winning the Europa League doesn't save our season. I think what he meant by that, from the part I read, is we don't get to say we've had a brilliant season just even if we win this. It's been poor overall. I kind of like that messaging because it shows that just winning the trophy isn't good enough at Man United. You need to be better. But I just thought the difference in the two messages, Son yesterday, the captain, saying, oh, yeah, that loss was a wake-up call. As you say, 18 losses into the season. The Man United manager saying if we win this European trophy that we've only won once before in our history, that doesn't make it a good season. Again, I'm not saying that Amorim's attitude and approach is a guarantee to get us back to the top, but I do think it's more of a realistic conversation that you want to hear. I would be flabbergasted if Man United had lost last night and the message from our captain would have been, yeah, we didn't see this coming. Bit of a wake-up call. Be like, what the fuck do you mean? We're sitting 15th in the league, bruv, or 14th, wherever it is. What do you mean this is a wake-up call? Yeah, no, I agree. This is from Cal, who's a Spurs fan. He says, because we lost to Ghent under Poch, Zagreb under Mourinho, didn't have a shot against Milan under Conte, almost like it's overall factor to all of this. And do you know what, Cal? I go back to a game and I don't remember who the team were. You were in, I think it was the UEFA Cup then. And I remember it was either a chance he missed on the line or like an own goal or something on like Stead Malbronk. he sliced and cut this ball. Because I just remember everybody in the pub. We were down a pub afterwards. All me and my mates, just when I used to live in the East End. People were calling him a cheese slicer because the way the way he sliced the ball. I don't quite remember the joke, but there was loads of games back then where you were a decent side and you were up against teams that on paper you had better players than, and you just didn't turn up when you had to. So I understand where you're coming from with this, Cal. There must be an element of you that just thinks that where you just think to yourself, like, maybe it's just the way we are. But you listen to the story that Hugo Lloris told. They made the Champions League final and they were given gifts that said, well done for making the final. And I would love, you'll never get, a club will never allow this access, but I would love to have the access to Liverpool, for instance, for the last 3 or 4 months to see what, because I had this debate once online with a Man United fan who said he doesn't believe that the day-to-day goings on in the dressing room and around the club of Man United, and this was about 5 years ago, is any different to the inner goings on at Man City or Liverpool. He doesn't think that has any impact on the football pitch. And me and him just disagreed. I think that if you spent considerable time in and around Liverpool this season, and then you went and spent the same time around Tottenham, I bet you would notice fundamental differences in approach, attitudes, confidences, the way these big games are sort of treated as an example. I just think there has to be. And when you hear those sort of anecdotal stories from people like Hugo Lloris, sort of celebrating being in the final, as opposed to, and I always remember Spurs fans saying, me and Neeks used to do like Vox Pops. We were doing them outside the new stadium in White Hart Lane. And we met a couple of Spurs fans that said, I just want to win it. I really want to win it. Everybody else said the same thing. And straight away, me and Neeks both went, yeah, they're losing. The message was that they would stop. I don't care what happens. I'm just glad to be there. And I don't know if that's the right way to be.
Of course not. Of course it's not the right way to be, bro. You know what I'm saying? That mentality goes down to the players and whatnot, because it's like, oh yeah, you know, we got to the Champions League final, it's a massive achievement. End of the day, you didn't win it. You know what I mean? When people look back in the record books and they see that Liverpool won, they don't care that it was against Spurs. The main thing they're going to be looking at is we won that trophy. You know what I'm saying? So, bro, it's like these gooners right now that are, you know, mad excited right now because they're up there and they're challenging and that. You got to make sure that you get over the line. Because in a few years' time, no one's going to remember who finished top 4, bro. Yeah, if I ask you who finished in the top 4 2008-2009 season, no one will be able to tell me straight off the bat without looking at things online. You know what I'm saying? So no one gives a shit about that unless you get over the line. It's just the facts.
In the longer term, absolutely. I think in the short term, it's good to be competing, but you are right. From a historical point of view, no one but Arsenal fans will remember this Arsenal team. They'll remember moments because they'll remember moments and players because we've all done it recently with the whole, he's a proper Barclays man. We remember, like, if you're remembering a great goal from a middle of the road player from 20 years ago, you'll remember elements of this Arsenal team. But you are right in terms of historically, you won't be remembered without winning those trophies. It's as simple as which is ironically, Spurs fans came for me this week when I said about Harry Kane. On technical ability, the geezer's amazing. He's one of the best strikers the league's ever had. But when I name my top 10 strikers, stroke attackers, I'm doing that on legendary status. And he hasn't even been in enough semi-finals, finals, and title runs for him to even go anywhere near or above Drogba's and Mo Salahs of this world, and Eden Hazard's and Cantonard, Rooney's, Cole's, and the list goes on and on and on, because it's just delivering in those moments. And ironically, literally the same night, Harry Kane steps up and plays brilliantly in the Champions League against Bayer Leverkusen. And I'm sitting there, and I Spurs fans DM me, now what are you saying about Kane? Yeah, if Kane keeps doing this throughout this Champions League and they win it, that's how you become a legend of this game. But if he scores, if they were 2-0 down and then he scores a goal, and then they're 3-0 down in the second leg and he scores a late brace consolation, those goals, they mean a lot less than the performances and the goals putting your team through. So, no, I agree with that. Shawnee here says, just 28 minutes late, respect your audience. Well, Shawnee, we put a note up because Staffy was running a little bit late. Dalot isn't here today because he's at work. So we put a note up to let everybody know that we were running late. So that's as respectful as we can be in that scenario, my friend. But having said that, you super chatted 25 minutes after we even went live. So we couldn't have been late for you because you weren't here. So you just turned up and we're live, bruv. So
20-minute conversation, Shawnee, and all you used your £2 for was to tell us to be on time. Great investment. Good job, Shawnee.
Yeah, and we let everyone know in the chat. But viewers, give us your thoughts. Do you think Big Ange is close to being... Personally, I think he's a dead man walking. Just to end this segment off, I think he's already sacked. I think that the board have already made their minds up personally. I just think they're kind of, if he can win the Europa League, they might keep him. They might change their minds. They might go do a U-turn. I just have a little feeling that they've made their minds up. And I don't think they will win the Europa League. I just don't think Spurs have the minerals for it. And yeah, I think he'll be let go in the summer. I think there's too much anger from the fans. And this is where Daniel Levy and co are clever. And this is the biggest reason Ange will get sacked. They'll sack him. They'll bring in a manager that will probably get the fans a bit excited. And for a period, Levy and Enoch will be left alone to book concerts. They'll be left alone. Because especially if they start well, they'll get we've got our Tottenham back. The season tickets get renewed. The bar gets all the money spent on it. Everybody buys tickets to watch Gaga and Beyonce twerk on stage, and no one will care for a little while. And that's not a dig at Spurs, this, by the way. All our fan bases are like it. If you get a trophy, or you get a new manager, or you get a new signing, for a period, everybody's happy with that new shiny toy. So Enoch and Levy are not stupid. They will definitely be looking at that. And I think they may have already made a decision. But give us your thoughts. Give us your opinion in the comment section below. Conversations need to be had against Tottenham. They are no longer a top 6 team. Villa and Newcastle are both better and above them now, Terry. It depends on what your interpretation of top 6 is. Because do we look at it as a single season? Who are the top 6 best teams? Maybe. Is it the top 6 richest? As in actual revenue for the club? Maybe. Is it about looking at over 5 to a 10-year period? Who have been the top 6 clubs in that period? Is it a case of you don't have a top 6 anymore? Maybe there's a top 8, because loads of teams because it used to be a top 4, and then City got money, and then Spurs grew their revenue, and it became a, that type of thing. But listen, I think it's a fair challenge. Let us know what you think of that, people. Standards FC tell you Arsenal and Spurs are having the same season. No, they're not. They're not. They're not. He said Standards FC have said it. I don't know. I've not seen anybody say they're having the same seat. The only person I saw that said that was Deji. Deji said that Arsenal were just like a spicy Spurs or a red Spurs or something. Yeah, that's Deji. Come on, that's what I mean. I've not seen anybody make that claim online that they're having the same season, because I don't even think the biggest Arteta outers would compare being second and just setting a new record in a Champions League knockout game the same as sitting 13th. In the league. I don't think even the biggest outer would say that personally, dear. Unless you've got, who has said it, but that's crazy to me. Big up to you, gents, especially Terry. Oh, thank you, Chike. Appreciate that. Keep up the hard work with your diet and getting fit. I went for a run for the first time in months yesterday because I've lost a bit of weight. It was a bit too heavy to run. But my ankles, knees, and back, oh my God, I'm in bits today. Just because my body ain't used to it. So yeah, I am trying, mate, but it's hard as you get to my age, bruv. Even standing up hurts. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
When you go to sit down, you're making that sound. One of them ones.
I began gyms. I'm fine with that side of things, but I haven't run. And I always find out of all the cardiovascular exercises you do, running is just the hardest, in my opinion. Like swimming, I actually enjoy swimming and cycling, but I don't find them as, I'd never find them as hard as the pain of running, if that makes sense. Running's just, this is the reason that boxers run and they don't cycle and swim, mainly in terms of cardio. So a question for you, Staffy. Which team, in your opinion, is the biggest threat to repeat in the East, brother?
Unfortunately, it's not my Knicks.
Is that a basketball question? Right, okay, cool. I didn't get the question, but over to you, Staffy.
It's a basketball question. It's going to be the Celtics again. The Celtics are a dynasty. They're the equivalent of Man City in like 2018, 2019. So they'll be here for a few years. Yeah. They just have a very, very talented core. And I think the oldest one is 28. So it's they're not going anywhere. I can't even put age as something they'll be gone in a year or two. No, they'll be here for a while.
Fair dues. Now, Don, we were going to talk Chelsea today. And as I'm prepping, as you know, for every show, I always put in the group chat what we're speaking about. Has anybody got any points they want to bring up? And Dan Potts alluded to a mad take, a crazy take that you have about Mudryk. And I'm going to paraphrase what he said. And he basically stated that you said that you'd still be in the title race if Mudryk was fit and playing for your team.
That hasn't come out my mouth once, yeah, because I know people are gonna go crazy in the chat. That has never come out my mouth once. I've never said we're gonna be in a title race if we still had Mudryk. No chance, no chance, right? But what we had a conversation about was Dan Potts the other day in the group chat. Charlie, big up Charlie, yeah, he normally jumps on Chelsea Fan TV. Was speaking about Mudryk and the fact that we're missing a profile like him in the team. Because right now you're seeing Sancho every single game. He's not needed in every single game, bro. I can think of against Villa, a game like that. You want someone that's a little bit more direct. It doesn't even have to be Mudryk, just someone like that, right? Against Brighton, against the high line, you want someone that's a little bit more direct, that's going to run at their man, right? And ever since he's been gone, we haven't really had that. It's only now we're starting to introduce George into the team who offers us what he kind of replicates what Mudryk was doing, because he's another one that's quite direct and he likes to create some good chances in the box, which is quite similar to what Mudryk was doing for us. You know what I'm saying? So listen, even Darko, you know, big up. I know people know Darko on Chelsea Twitter. Even he tweeted the other day saying, yo, I never thought I'd say this, but the team actually misses Mudryk. You know what I mean? And so many people are now doing a U-turn on this Mudryk thing because they're seeing that he's a different profile in comparison to what we have with Sancho. So for me right now, going forward, bruv, we just need to keep giving more minutes to George. I like what I've been seeing from him so far. He offers us something different. You know what I mean? So like I said, it doesn't have to be specifically Mudryk. We just need a similar profile to that. That's why I want to tell in January as well, right? And Garnacho, obviously, I didn't want this guy for 60 million, but again, he's another profile that's different. That's different to Sancho. That's the point that I was making. But in terms of being in the title race still, Potts is just bantering.
I know. And obviously, we titled it that way for a little bit of a laugh, as we say. And it's long formats. You get to explain yourself. I don't think it's a crazy take at all. I think you need that profile, that directness of a Mudryk, but someone that's just better, that, you know, more output as an example. And I was looking at this from Sancho. I mean, Sancho getting a lot of stick at the minute. It's 10 consecutive games without registering a goal or an assist. And to be honest, the performances have also been really poor. Palmer is currently on a really bad run of form by his standards. Neto's not been great this season with output as well. And Staffy, it does feel like that area for Chelsea is, they got the victory last night and deserved the victory, but it was a close game for large parts. It does feel like Chelsea's attack has really kind of fizzled out this season.
Yeah, they stagnated a little bit, and some of their injuries and departures didn't really help. But I agree with Don in terms of, I know what Don means, and I told him this before. I was like, your issue sometimes is the way you articulate something. Like sometimes he has the right idea, but he just doesn't say it the best way. People think like he just like, oh my God, I miss Mudryk because Mudryk was amazing. That's not really what he's saying. He's saying they don't have that profile. The last person they had that profile was Mudryk. That's why he's saying he misses Mudryk. If it was anyone else that had that same direct profile that he's speaking about, which I agree with, he would have said that. He's just, his delivery sometimes could be funny. But because no one misses Mudryk, bro.
That's why I clarified it, man.
D here says, Don, you can deny, but we believe you said it. Obviously, D's obviously joking, having fun there. But yeah, look, listen, I read it all in the group chat. I thought it was funny. That's why I thought I'd bring it up today, because I was like, I want to know exactly what you said and why. But I agree with the premise. I just think that it's the biggest issue with Sancho that you have now that he's left United. You're always frustrated during games and you have these moments. But there's something I keep seeing Chelsea fans say about him that I disliked at United. And I remember me and Staffy had this argument because he was like, Staffy, like, no, he recycles the ball well. And I'm like, no, I want to see Sancho continue to run at the fullback and try and take him on. And I just think too often, I don't know if you see this, Don, he just takes the easy option by passing it back into midfield as opposed to attacking his fullback. And I felt when he first joined Chelsea, what was frustrating from a United perspective was, hang on, why is he now running at people? Why is he taking people on? Yeah. And he's sort of stopped doing that in recent weeks.
100%, bro. You know, it's a confidence thing. You know, a lot of these people see what goes on Twitter, man. Like, obviously, they see it, bro. They're human, right? And, you know, when you're seeing you're getting cooked by your fan base, a lot of the time, you're like, yo, I'm never going to try something here because if it doesn't pull off, they're going to cook me. So let me just play the safe option, right? And that's what Sancho does. And we're having this similar sort of problem with Dewsbury Hall as well. Because Dewsbury Hall, bro, this guy is better than what I've seen at Chelsea. I'm so sorry, bro. Right? I was seeing this guy when I was doing my research with Leicester, getting on the ball and just running with the ball.
I love what you say when I was doing my research. I just find it so funny.
That's what I was doing. You say that. I was doing my research, even when he was in the Prem before they got relegated. Right? This guy used to run at people. Now at Chelsea, he gets on the ball and he just plays it safe every time. And I'm like, these guys are going to cook you because you're not showing them how good you are. But again, it goes back to the confidence. I was talking to Locks, big up Locks. He makes Leicester content. And he was saying how even last season, Dewsbury Hall was speaking about a lot of the social media, how toxic it is and whatnot. So he sees the things that people say about him. You know what I mean? I haven't seen anything from this guy in comparison to Gallagher. Gallagher next to Dewsbury Hall looks like fucking Iniesta right now. Do you know what I mean? He was more effective for us. But he needs to leave. He needs to leave Chelsea. He should have never come Chelsea in the first place. Brighton wanted him. He decided to come here when we've got a million attacking midfielders. He needs to leave to make sure that he doesn't fall off, bro. Right? Because he's not going to make it here. It's way too toxic over here, bruv. Way too toxic.
It makes you question why that signing was even made, I'll be honest. It really does.
Bro, listen, I rate him in isolation, Staffy, but at the time, I was so confused. I saw the Ornstein bomber. I said, yo, what's going on here? Because, like, my plan in my head, I was like, yo, Carney's now going to get those minutes, right? Andre Santos is going to stay, and he's going to get those minutes. This was even before we signed Felix. So we signed Dewsbury Hall, and then we still ended up signing Felix, bro. That's Felix, Nkuku, Palmer, and Enzo Fernandez, right? There's like 5 players for one position. It doesn't make sense, you know? So it is what it is, man. With him, I think he'll leave Chelsea, go down a level, do what I was seeing him doing last season in the Prem, you know, in the Championship, sorry. But at Chelsea, bro, it's too much of a big move, man. I can't lie. His confidence is on the floor. It's on the floor, bro.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, he's even getting minutes right now in the Conference League because you're pretty much entering these latter stages where you're gonna start playing your best team, not like what you were doing in the group stages. Because like just as an example, Palmer, I'm hearing Palmer played for the first time in the Conference League. That's what's gonna be until the end of the season. So what role does he even have until the end of the season?
Bro, all he ever does is play in the Conference League. Like when he was winning all those games, he was starting and playing, right? In the Prem, there was certain games he's not even making the squad. And I'm like, bro, you can be starting week in, week out elsewhere, bro. What are you doing it? Do you know what I mean? He started the other week against Bournemouth. To be fair to him, he got an assist. He played well in that game. I think Enzo was ill. He got an assist for Cucurella. But other than that, like he's better than what I'm seeing at Chelsea. I'll be real. It's just one of them ones where another player that's moved to a big club and it's been too much for them. That's what I'm seeing with him. I'll be real.
I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah, do you know what's interesting? Because I was saying backstage to you, Don, when Sancho first went to Chelsea, maybe that first 2 months, I was thinking 25 million looks so cheap for him now. The last couple of months, 25 million looks a good deal. I will say this about Sancho. I honestly, I didn't like the way when he fell out with this and that. You can criticize players, and we all are guilty sometimes of being too angry or too frustrated during games. You know, I've been to matches. It's actually worse in the stadium than it is online half the time. But when he fell out with Ten Hag, the way the club at the time, the people running the club at the time were leaking stories, making him eat his lunch in the car and stuff, the way the media turned on him, I thought it was horrible. So I stood by him, and I really wanted him to do well when leaving. And I say what I'm about to with as much respect as possible. I just don't think he's a Premier League football player. For whatever reason, whether it's work rate, body strength, the style of football that clubs have, I just feel like he is suited to, there'll be other leagues he's suited to as well, but German football seems to be where he thrives. And I know you guys might keep him for another season, but if I was Chelsea, I'd be like, hang on, we've got to pay 25 million for him. You might be able to convince a German team to pay 35 million pound for him in the summer.
But Terry, you're forgetting, that there's still a massive gap up top, bro. We haven't got a target man that he can play with, right? Sancho enjoyed his best football when he was playing with Haaland. I remember when I was watching him when Ronaldo was at United as well. That was the best Sancho I saw at United, bro. Right? Ronaldo loved playing with that guy because he used to literally every time he'd get the ball, he's just looking for Ronaldo every time and just feeding him. Ronaldo loved playing with him, right? So I want to see us actually bring in a striker because it's going to help the likes of Sancho. It's going to help the likes of Neto. You know, at the minute, you can't be looking at Sancho to keep running at the fullbacks because you know he can't do it consistently, Terry. That's where I'm looking at Maresca and saying, yo, overlap Cucurella, bro. Make him and Cucurella have a little.
I told you that already, Don. You guys are. I don't like how Maresca even uses his wingers. I think all your wingers are struggling because of Maresca.
Yeah,
like outside of individuality, like that's not even me defending. I generally do think he doesn't help his wingers at all. They don't have a target man, and they don't have overlapping fullbacks. You basically need a couple prime Ronaldinhos to play in this Chelsea team because all they have to do is just beat their man. And I'm
Bro,
like, how many
it's
times in a game am I gonna be in a one-on-one situation?
Do you know what this is? Yeah, this system.
much.
Yeah, if you've been GCSE, so when it comes to your exams, Staffy, when you're about to leave school, you've got the higher paper, right, and you've got the foundation paper. So the higher paper was given to the kids that are like smart, they can hack it, right? The foundation was given to those that they're a bit slow in it. You know what I mean? They get the easier paper, right? This system is the higher paper, and some of these guys are foundation level. Yeah, so you got to make sure that you give them the little foundation and help them out a little bit. Give Cucurella that license to just overlap and help Sancho. Because when those two link up, it's good. When I see Enzo linking up with Sancho, it's good, right? But again, this is a player that you don't want to be seeing every single game because he's not that type of profile. He's not that good to be playing every single game. He's an important squad player to have. You bring him on against tired legs. You know what I'm saying? You start him against low blocks most of the time when you need someone to create something out of nothing. Games like that. But week in, week out against every single team, he's not that. And that's why I keep going back to the fact that we're missing another profile like a Mudryk. And now I'm happy that George has started to step up because he's a different profile to Sancho. Different profile, bruv.
Yeah, I like what I saw from him. I watched him a couple times. He looks good. He gives you a different element to that side. Yeah. Does he play on the left as well, or does he only play down the right?
Nah, he's a left winger, bro. For me, he's a left winger. Like he played on the right yesterday in the first half, didn't do fuck all. I prefer him on the left, innit? You know,
because every time I see him play, he comes down the right.
So. Yeah. I don't really like him on the right, man. He played there against Southampton. He's all right there, innit? But on the left, I feel like he creates better angles to shoot. He still goes on the wider areas as well. He still crosses on that side, but I feel like he offers more. I feel like he's a little bit more comfortable there, innit? It's similar to like I'm trying to think. You know Rashford. You don't like Rashford on the right, do you? You prefer him on the left.
Yeah.
It's like that. I don't really like George on the right. I prefer him on the left, man. I'll be real.
Would you? And here's my question to you: Would you say that Chelsea still need to strengthen their winger positions in the summer?
Left wing, definitely, bro. Definitely. You know, I'm looking at George closely this season. Like, how's he gonna get on between now and the end of the season? But we need to replace Mudryk. It's as simple as that.
How long is he out for? I know he's suspended, but how long is he out for?
Bro, nothing's been confirmed. Nothing's been confirmed. It's just quiet on the situation. He could be banned up to 4 years, right? So
it could be another Pogba situation.
Basically, yeah. We need someone that can come in on the wing that's going to offer us goals because we can't just be looking at Palmer. We can't just be looking at Jackson. We can't be looking at just the strikers, right? And that's something that George was doing in the academy. He used to score a lot of goals, right? So he now needs to replicate that in the first team, but he's still young. So I'd rather we bring someone that's ready now to come in and help him, innit? Help him learn. You know what I'm saying?
You need a lot of ready now players in the summer. Yeah, I agree with you, especially in that wing position. I hear that. Yeah, you can't go into another year, bro. Because I know Esteval's coming. Where does Esteval play? I know he's
on the right.
Somewhere.
He's on the right. So on the left, I'll be looking at someone like a Semenyo. I'll look to go get Semenyo. Nico Williams is another one that we're looking at as well.
He's at a drop of this year, by the way. Nico Williams.
I
don't think people speak about it, but he hasn't been good this year.
I was about to say, bro, his output this year has not been good. You know, Liao's, we've had some loose links there. I don't want that guy, right? He's gonna come here and Standard FC are gonna cook this guy because they don't watch him week in, week out. When you watch this guy, you see how lazy he is off the ball, bro. There'll be so many goals that will concede from his side because he don't want to fucking track back. You know, all he knows is to smile whilst dribbling, bro. You know, how about you fucking track back? You know what I'm saying? So I don't want Liao, right? He's a big name, but for how we want to play in the Prem, working hard off the ball.
I'm not gonna lie, he looks like he plays five-a-side football. The amount of times I watch this guy and he squares up a defender. So it's like he just stands up on a defender. He doesn't move. And he just waits for a move first. And I'm like, bro, you would get eaten alive in the Premier League if you do that. In the Premier League, they would never give you time to size up your defender like that and then choose what to do. I always see that. And I'm like, this is why so many players come from Serie A to the Premier League and they struggle. You would never be given that amount of time. He's very technical, don't get me wrong. But I don't, bro, I'm not going to lie. So, if anyone ever decides to pay his release clause and bring him to the Premier League, I don't think it's going to work. I really don't think it would take a lot of adaptation.
I don't want him. That's got a flop written all over it. And you know it's gonna come back to the sporting directors. You know it's gonna come back to the owners, right? Because these lot don't watch this guy every week. It's just another big name. You know what I mean? So I want us to stay away from him. But if we sign someone like Semenyo, I'll be happy with someone like that. To be honest, you know.
But you know what it is? Your fan base won't accept Semenyo. They'll look at it and they'll be like, "Oh, we're signing a player from a lower team, even though Bournemouth are cooking this year." They'd be like, no, we don't want him. We want someone who's like proven at the high level. We've heard that a million times before.
No, of course, but I've seen his name floating a couple of times. That's someone that right now, a lot of people I'm seeing will take him. Obviously you've got Rodrigo. That's my dream signing. I would have loved KK at PSG. That was my dream signing. Him and Rodrigo, take them in a heartbeat. But realistically, Rodrigo's not going to leave Madrid. You know what I mean? So you have to go down a level, innit? So if people got other names that they can think of on the left, let me know, innit? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, there's not a massive pool of players really on that side. You're looking at Matomas, Semenyo. Who else is there, Staffy? I'm trying to think.
Garnacho. Yeah, you can take Garnacho, bro.
I don't want Garnacho, bro. You know how I feel about him.
They can.
Garnacho. People, let me know the names, man. I want to see this.
Yeah, there's a phobia. Yeah, Alex Baena.
Bacola. Yeah, Bacola. Listen,
Bacola's not leaving PSG.
We tried, bro. We wanted to sign this guy before we signed Palmer. That Kubo guy. I think he's
Kubo
right
hype, bro. Kubo hype. He got locked up yesterday.
Yeah, he's a right winger as well, I swear.
Yeah, he plays on the right and he got locked up yesterday.
Alex Baena.
Gittins is going to be one on the move, yeah.
Nabry. See what I'm saying? People are saying Sane, Nabry. Come on now, people. Yeah. Martinelli will be moving. Sane. Nah, man. No. We need Ansu Fati. Get out of here, Abdullah.
They're just putting in names.
See what I mean? People are saying the names right now. You can see the pool's dead. You can see the pool's dead, bro. You know what I mean? My ideal signing would be man say Ryan Fraser. You see what I'm saying? This is what I mean. When I ask people to problem solve, these are the names they're coming with, bro. Dan James.
Sorry about that, gents. I had a message from my son's school. Sometimes they message you about weird stuff, and you got to go through this process of messaging back via their intercom system. And it was nothing serious. It was like a big thing that says he had an accident. Turns out it's like a little bump on the head, and he gets a sticker to tell me about. And I'm trying to log into it, thinking, oh shit, is he in trouble? No. Thank you, Luke Skywalker, for gifting 5 memberships out to the audience. That means a great deal to us. Thank you very, very much indeed. We appreciate that, bruv. Big up to you.
Lookman is one. Yeah, hey, big up YP. Lookman is one that I'll take. I'll take Lookman. Yeah, he scores.
I don't look at Lookman though as an out and out left winger. You know what I'm saying? He's
inside forward, isn't it?
He's an inside forward. He would actually be very good for our system.
Do you know?
He's
watching him. I do. Listen, I know Mo Salah left and came back and looked really good here. I would be a little worried about just the players that have tried it in the Prem and it hasn't worked for them. And like, who are the other examples? Mo Salah and KDB, but we actually talk about 2 people that are in at least positionally GOAT conversations. Like KDB is one of the greatest ever midfielders. Mo Salah is one of the greatest ever attackers. How many players have struggled, left, come back, and done brilliantly? Genuine question. I don't know if there's an answer. Like, there's many examples. That's my only problem. Everything I've seen of Lookman looks great, but there is just, you know, when you go out and you think, have I left the kettle on? Sorry, the oven on. Have I left the iron on? And you get there's just a little niggle in the back of my mind when it comes to Lookman. Nothing to do with his ability, application, attitude, behavior, any weird reason somebody could give. It's none of that. It's just he tried here before and it didn't work. I would just be, and maybe it's because Man United have such a bad track record of buying players. I get that feeling with a lot of players, to be fair, but yeah, it'd be an interesting one.
Lookman was at Leicester, then he obviously went to Fulham with Scott Parker. That team was actually good, and he managed to get them relegated. So it's different circumstances, isn't it? Like he's got more experience now. Like he literally won these guys the Europa League. You know, it's
scored a hat trick in the Europa League final.
Say that again.
He scored a hat trick in the Europa League final.
That's what I'm saying. He scored a hat trick in the final, bro. So if you want someone that's gonna just strike the ball, bro, this is one that you need to get in it. So. Listen, for me, Rodrigo will be my number 1 and KK, like I said. But if it was to sign Lookman, I would not be mad at it. I would not be mad at it at all.
Yeah, no one should be.
I hear you on that, bro. Viewers, make sure you hit the like button if you haven't done so already. It's called racism, Terry. No. So, I mean, again, some people might not want Lookman for a bigoted reason. That's not my issue. It's not what I stated at all. Again, some people care about the clothes players wear. I don't give a shit. The cars they drive, I don't give a shit. You know, the girlfriends. I mean, the people are doing up this whole stuff at the moment about Jude Bellingham's girlfriend. I don't care what she is or was or does. I couldn't care less. She's good looking. You know, she's an attractive young lady. Well done, Jude. I actually don't know why people care. I can't imagine why it's even a talking point for people. But yeah, of course, but I'm talking about my concern with Lookman is just, and I'm talking more about United's track record. where I just worry we get him, we'd be excited, and it just don't work out in England for him again. But certainly a talented player who looks like he's going to be getting that move. Before we move on to the big game of the weekend, I want to ask you a question about Liverpool. A lot of people have said they've been lucky this season, right? And I feel that sort of maybe they're not lucky they're top of the league. They've had to win the games, and they've won the games, and they've deserved it. But Newcastle fans are being sort of siding with Gooners this week with the luck thing, because it looks like now Newcastle they're going to be without Gordon because he got himself sent off. Botman's out with a knee injury. Isak is said to potentially be missing. And there was another player as well that could be out of that game now. I forget his name. The viewers are probably going to remind us. If Newcastle have all those players missing for the final, I mean, Liverpool were always the favourites, but it does feel a little bit, I don't even know, even as a neutral to the game, it feels like a bit of a dampener if those guys are all out for it. Because I just don't see how Newcastle, if there's no Isak or Gordon, there's no Botman at the back, and Lewis Hall's out. I just don't see how Newcastle can win.
I mean, Liverpool.
Bro, they need to do what happened last season with Liverpool, bro. You're forgetting Liverpool. They had bare injuries, and all those kids beat Poch.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen. The other way around, bro. You know what I mean? I'm tired of Liverpool collecting these trophies, bro. I'm honestly sick and tired of it, right? Because we've given them a lot of their trophies, a lot of them, bro. 2 in 1 season, both on penalties. Yeah, last season, right? I'm tired of these lot, man. So I'm just praying Newcastle can do something. Do something, bro.
They're probably not, but I mean, listen, Liverpool have been a little bit lucky, but that's fine. I feel like some people are like, it's not pocket watching, but they're like kind of like luck watching. Like I hear Igao 24/7 now complaining about how lucky Liverpool have been, but like I'll just be honest, bro. Everyone at some point has luck with them and luck against them. It's just like for them, it didn't really impact them as much to see. Like people forget that they had Alisson out for larger parts of the season, and they were so dismissive of it because they were winning a lot of games. But then you watch the game on the weekend and you see, not the weekend, during the week, and you see how basically Alisson clinched that win for them against PSG, and you get reminded that, damn, how did they win that amount of games that they won this season when Alisson was out? I swear this guy was out for a couple of months at least. So it's like,
He was out for ages. He was out for
they're a little bit lucky. That's fine. I get that. But that's football, bro. I don't know what to tell people. Like, the fact that Newcastle fans are siding with Gooners right now, it's just like the epitome of like misery loves company. One miserable fan base in Arsenal, and another miserable fan base that's about to be miserable when they don't win, Newcastle, that never agree on anything. Mind you, these guys hate each other. They always talk shit to each other every year. Now they want to be buddy buddies because the big mean Liverpool is gonna win the League Cup. It is what it is, bro. Listen, Newcastle, just hold that. That's fine. That's fine. I hope Isak plays. I want Newcastle to win, but that's football for you. You know, if you're gonna cry about it, then honestly, don't even watch the sport because it just happens to everyone.
When is the final? When is it?
That's a great question.
Next weekend. Next weekend.
Fucking hell, man. So these lot could win the Carabao. I saw what you said about the treble situation as well, Terrace. So you're not counting that as a treble then, yeah? If they win the...
It isn't a treble, but why is that a question?
Hang on. Sorry, yeah. I mean, it's not that I'm not counting it as a treble. It's just a fact that it isn't the treble. They can call it a treble. I don't care. They can call it a mini treble. They can call it a treble. They can call it the best treble. They can say it's the greatest treble that's ever been achieved in football. All of that I'm not bothered about. What I've pushed back against is this lie that a percentage of that Liverpool fans have pushed, which has been that United coined the phrase, and they've said that the treble is not a thing. So it's not about dismissing their 3 trophies. I am not going to play down these 3 trophies that they are the favourites to win from this point. What I'm talking about is the treble's a real thing because the double's a real thing. And the double is recognised by every association football across Europe and across the world is when you win the highest league and the primary domestic trophy in a said country. That's a double. It's the double. Therefore, the treble is those 2 achievements and the primary continental title whether it be what we would call the Champions League. I'm not too sure what those trophies are called in South America or Asia or North America. So the treble is a thing. The double has been recognized since 1989. The treble, the term was first coined and phrased in 1967 when Celtic did it, and actually Celtic did it as part of a quad, and it's the only quad. And the same Liverpool fans were pushing for a quad a few years ago, and it was called the quad because it was all four of those trophies. They wouldn't allow, if they did it, a team to win a different selection of 4 trophies and go, well, that's a quad as well. You know, if Liverpool had completed that quad, and then a year later, City won the Premier League, the Europa League, because demotion in the group stages was still on then, the Europa League, the Premier League, FA Cup and Carabao Cup, that wouldn't be the quad. It would be 4 trophies. You can call it a quad if you want. So I'm just pushing back against the lie that Man United have gaslit the world and we created this phrase, the treble. I even played back footage when we beat them in 77 in the FA Cup final, and the commentator literally said, the treble dream is over. Because it was always a thing that people were chasing. English teams have been chasing the mythical treble, the biggest league title, the biggest domestic trophy, the biggest European accolade. And Man United were the first team to do it in England. Then City have done it. And if Liverpool win all 3 trophies this year, you see how much I praise them. You see how much congrats I give them. But this idea that it can be called the treble is wrong, because it's already been UEFA and FIFA and the FA have had these. This has been around for over 100 years. We can't be rewriting history for Liverpool. The same as I don't think we should rewrite what legends have to achieve to become legends of the game. Harry Kane shouldn't get a free pass into the Legends Lounge when he hasn't won any major trophies to score goals in the way to winning it. The same as you can't have the treble or the double without achieving what everybody else that's in that club has achieved. Simple as that for me. But and look, it's not semantics, Twisted Bubba. It's not at all. It's not semantics at all. I'll give you what I tell you. It's not semantics. Based on that logic, Twisted Bubba, if Man United win the Europa League, can we just say we won the European Cup? It's a European Cup, but it's not the European Cup. Can we twist that off as the same as a Champions League? Can the team that wins the championship this season? So yeah, we won the league in England this year. What league? Doesn't matter what league. The league. We won a league. This is why it's not semantics. It's about the facts. You know, when you say
everyone knows that, you don't need to say that.
Well, there are people that don't think you do.
They pretend that they don't know. Listen, every other country except England, basically in the top 5 leagues, they don't have a league cup. So they only get one chance to win one domestic cup to do a treble. So they don't get to pick and choose. Oh, should I win the FA Cup to complete the treble? Oh, I lost it. It's fine. I can get the League Cup. No one else has that. So that's why we all know the FA Cup in every country, plus the Champions League, plus the league. That's a treble. Yep. Stop trying to redo it every year. I know this is the Hussam influence, because Hussam likes to sit there and pretend.
Is it him that started it? It's Hussam that started it.
I don't know if he started, but I know he used to always say that Liverpool already have a treble. And he talks about one of those years where I forgot what year it was. I think they won the equivalent of the Europa League in the league. I'm like, bro, shut up. Just shut up. Stop saying that. It's like every year we have this conversation.
Well, this is the thing. How far do you... This is why it's important to protect it on a real level, right? And Twisted Bubba might have been joking. It's important to protect it because if you bend the rules to go, okay, UEFA go, right, for Liverpool, we'll put you on the list for the trebles with the League Cup. Well, how much more do you bend it? Well, Real Madrid have never done the treble. But what if next year they win the league, the Champions League, and the Spanish Super Cup? Can they claim that now? Can they claim that as the treble? And if you let them have it, you might find there's a combo that's been done before in another combination. Then you might start getting loads of Italian teams, loads of English teams. Hang on, though. We don't call it the Super Cup. We call it the Community Shield. But I bet we could go through and find seasons where teams have won community. Yeah, we didn't win the Champions League, but we won the Community Shield, the Premier League, and the FA Cup that season. Fucking hell, another treble.
Yeah, put Neeks' comment on. Look at Neeks. He actually made a very good comment there.
Where are we at here? Let me scroll. There it is here. Nobody calls City's 4 trophies in 2009 as the quad: Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup, and Community Shield. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I want to get you lot's take on this as well. What do you lot think about Community Shields being added to like official records and that? Do you lot actually add these?
See that, but they always. Do you know what I would say? Do you know what I would say to it is this? they always have been on the official records list. So it isn't that in 2010 they said we're going to add them. They've always been included in the trophies that you have won. I think the issue that we've got with, listen, I'm not someone that, well, my team's been in it, we've won it. You celebrate winning it on the day, but there isn't a great deal of prestige. I think the difference between us and the irony in it is this: we all take the Super Cup, the European Super Cup, seriously, but we don't take the Community Shield seriously. I see Premier League fans take the Spanish Super Cup seriously, but disregard the Community Shield. I look at them all as the same thing. They are all
No, but you know what the issue is there?
Shield, bro. That's no way.
But that's the branding. If for the last 100 years it was called the English Super Cup, I think everybody would rate it. It's because it's called the Community Shield or the Charity Shield when I was younger. It's that word community, charity. I think it just throws everyone off a little bit. But
that's an issue with the FA, though, Terry. I think the FA should rebrand, as you said, and they should be playing it by actual real football rules. Like they play by friendly rules. That's the issue. Like you go into that game. Yeah. There's no, like, it's technically not an official game. It is a glorified
preseason. It's literally preseason, bro.
It is, and that's the issue with it. Like, if you rebrand it,
the goals count. If you score goals in that, they go on your professional record. So it's not treated as a preseason friendly. The goals are.
No, they play it by
I'm saying technically
rules. Like you can make unlimited subs, which is not a thing.
That's not true, is it?
It is. Yeah, you can make as many subs.
I don't think so, and I don't think that's true. Maybe you're right. How many?
They play them by basically friendly rules. And what's it called? The whole idea of it, like when it used to get called the Charity Cup or whatever, the Charity Shield. Sorry, I mean, people don't really take it seriously. You look at Italy and Spain example. What I like that they do is they play their what's it called, their Super Cup basically.
Oh yeah, you can make up to 6. I didn't even know that, bro. I didn't even know. Yeah, you can make up to 6.
Saying, man. It's a glorified. It's a glorified.
They need to treat it seriously,
guys. Having said that, you can make 5 subs in the Premier. It's only 1 more. Like, I hear your point, but it's I didn't realize it was 6. That's crazy.
It needs to be later in the season though, too, Terry. Like you look at Italy, look at Spain. They host them in like Qatar and Saudi Arabia, and they used to host them like in other countries. They actually take it seriously. And when it's later down the season, and teams have been playing for a while, it feels like more of a competitive game. Whereas this one, I mean, like Pep as an example, he just most times he wouldn't even put his best team out there. And it's not that he has to. I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying that's how unserious the trophy looks. They need to rebrand it. They need to play it by official rules. And honestly, I didn't even know that. I remember, shout out Winter Surfer. He told me that years ago. I don't remember what year exactly. If you drew, they just used to share the cup.
It was shared, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, how can I take it seriously when it's shared? You know what I'm saying? They
Bro,
need to rebrand it a little bit.
City aren't far off of Arsenal without the Community Shields, right? They're like 3. There's like a 3-4 trophy difference. I think I need to double check.
Without.
No,
yeah,
without the Community.
Yeah, I think City have gone past Chelsea by 1, and they're 3 or 4 behind Arsenal in terms of total trophies when you remove them. No, listen, I hear you. Maybe we should take it more seriously. But I've always noticed as well, like the foreign managers that come here take it more seriously, and I think that's because they associate it in the same way that the Spanish Super Cup and
you
stuff
have to qualify for it, Terry. It is technically the winner of the league versus the winner of the cup. So it's like, in essence, it's like, oh, you're getting the best team in the domestic cup versus the team that won the league. The idea of it is beautiful. I like it. They just don't take it seriously. Like, please take it seriously. Because you know what it is? If United counted all the community shields, I swear we have more trophies than Liverpool, because I think we have 21 community shields, and I don't know how many Liverpool have. So we would eventually have more trophies than them in England if they counted them. But I can't claim that because they're not taking it seriously. So please do. I do want to watch a Super Cup every year. I want to see the team that won the league go against the team that won the FA Cup in a serious game where they're both fielding out their best teams. It's being played. I mean, it's being played in Wembley, so it's already like a big.
You know how you know it's not a serious shield anyway, because when Arteta was asked the question, right? What did he say?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He said he's won. He said he's won it. He said he's won it. But then in the same breath, it's all Arsenal haven't won anything in this period. They only count the FA Cup. So how can we only count the FA Cup, but then still say the Community Shield is a trophy we should be counting? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. As we said, bro, it's just like a whole branding issue. That just take it seriously, please.
No, listen, I'd love to see that. I hear you. Listen, I mean, I wouldn't be against it, as you say. Maybe taking it a little bit more seriously, putting some, listen. This is where you could maybe do so. They're always trying to do something with like the Middle East. This is where maybe you speak to, Riyadh season and say, look, we'll play it in Saudi, but we want some good prize money, because I guarantee you when clubs will start taking it seriously, if they go, there's a £20 million, there's a £20 million prize for the winner. That's also the way to get the FA Cup back firing as well, is they need to go and get a sponsor that's willing to put up millions of pounds for a prize, because everybody will play stronger teams if there's, because I read about the thing in the World Club Championship. It's £1 billion worth of prize money. They think if you can win it, they think the prize money could be as high as £100 million. Now, if you think about anyone's club, think about Chelsea this year, they're still sailing relatively close to the win because the income's down. They make the Champions League and then win that as an example. That's 170 million pound of extra turnover. That I don't think people realize how much money that is, and it's a cash injection as well. So yeah, look, it's absolutely massive if you can kind of do those types of things. A few comments here. You mad because Arsenal won it a lot is what Enigma says here. I'm not. Man United have won it a lot, but
what a childish thing to say. What a childish.
Mourinho used to chuck his medal into the crowd, bro. Big up the guy that said it in the chat. I remember.
No one's. I didn't really hear that as anyone playing it down. Everyone's saying take it more seriously to make it more prestigious.
Said that. I advocated for it to be taken more seriously, and I said, if anything, United won 21 of those. So if it is official, I benefit from it personally. How could I be mad?
Honestly, remember how everyone was clowning? Everyone was clowning Darwin Núñez, when he scored that goal against City.
Oh, and he celebrated.
Núñez, isn't it? Yeah, in the first season when he came, everyone was clowning him. I'm sure Arsenal fans were front line as well. But now all of a sudden, the Community Shield is the Champions League.
Bro, yeah, people like Sam calling it the biryani plate. He used to call it the biryani plate when they lost it to City 2 years ago. He was like, "Oh, congrats, they won the biryani plate."
I'm telling you, when I watch it, Staffy, I just have it on as just background noise. Like I'll just have it on to see, like, oh yeah, someone scored. Okay, cool, great, whatever. It's just a pre-season thing to me. I don't really look at it like a trophy, man.
Yeah, they need to rebrand it, bro. If you rebrand it, as Terry said, and up the price for it, just go get a couple sponsors. Be like, yo, we want you guys to sponsor this, and make the game bigger. And then now you're telling the league and cup winner, hey, when you guys play for this is what's on the line. You get like 10 mil each. And then the winner, I don't know, gets up to 20 mil. Trust me, they'll take it serious. They'll all play their best players if they're available, and they'll go for it. And we're going to take it seriously. I don't like the whole idea, because Neeks was mentioning this. Spain do like a mini tournament where they put 4 teams there. I don't like it. I don't like the idea that there's 2 teams that didn't win anything get to be the Super Cup. Because like when you think about it, it's the league winner and cup winner. Who's better between the two? What are 2 other teams that didn't, like the Super Cup winner could be someone who didn't win the league or the cup? It just doesn't make sense to me. Why are you even there?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like a lot of champions. Liverpool have had a bit of luck this season. We got the rub of the green in '98 with Roy Keane's ACL. That's football. It happens. No, I agree. And there's certainly, look, Liverpool are not lucky to be in the position that they are. Even the PSG game. Look, I suppose with the injuries to key players for Newcastle, there's luck there. But also it puts a little bit more pressure on Liverpool to win it, because that's why Chelsea were coined the £1 billion blue bottle jobs, because Liverpool had a completely injury ravished squad and still managed to go on and win it. If Liverpool don't win this Carabao Cup and Newcastle have all these players out and win it, it's an even bigger triumph. So look, there is a little bit of fortune in there, but Liverpool have still got to step up and win. This here says there's no written rule about that, though, is there? So no written rule about what about the treble?
About the treble.
Well, no,
bro, there's so many. Hang on.
It's not on. Hang on. No, Staffy, it's on UEFA's fucking website.
Is it really?
There's a whole link to it. Go onto the Association Football website. They tell you what a double is. It's documented stuff. It exists. They literally, if you just put the treble and type UEFA, there's a page where they list all the teams that have done it. So UEFA have got a whole page dedicated to what a treble is and who has achieved it. Go onto Associated Football and search what the double means. It breaks it down. It isn't, again, I say this to people a lot. I'm so passionate about it because I care about the history of the game. It's not me or Man United fans making this up. It exists. And I think words matter. I don't think we can just go around changing the meaning of fucking words whenever we want.
Right now on the official website on UEFA, I looked up and it says who won the treble, and it has a list in 66-67 Celtic, in 71-72 Ajax, in 87-88 PSV, in 89-99 Manchester United, in 08-09 Barcelona, in 09-010 Inter, in 12-13 Bayern, in 14-15 Barcelona, in 19-20 Bayern, and in 2022-2023 is Manchester City. That's it.
Bro, Pep's actually won 2 trebles, you know. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only list.
Yeah, no, it's genuinely there. I'm not making this stuff up. It's out there. If you just Google for a second, just Google it, Staffy, to prove it live. My hands are here. I'm not doing anything.
I dropped the link in the chat. It's right there. I put it.
Oh, no, but Google what's the double in football. My hands are here. I'm not sending him anything.
Double. Man's doing some Illuminati thing.
That's that weird thing I see people do on TV. They will do it with their hands, don't they? I don't even know what that means.
Well, ChatGPT showed me some waffling.
Nah, don't listen to ChatGPT, man. That's hey. I done a quiz for work once using that shit, and it was giving me some wrong.
The double in the association football is the achievement of winning a country's top tier division and its primary domestic cup.
Well,
Yes,
primary. There we go. And these are listed things that they're not just made up by Man United fans. First treble was 1967 by Celtic. That was part of a quad. They did a quad that year.
Yeah.
Alvarez would have been a good signing for you guys. Yeah, he'd be a brilliant signing for Chelsea.
I would have taken him. I would have happily taken him.
Yep, that would have been an absolutely brilliant bit of business. Biram Diaz is more gettable than Rodrigo. Quality. By the way, I'll be honest with you, Rodrigo's going nowhere. This idea Rodrigo was going to leave, I think it's been debunked this year. I think he's been fantastic. He really is.
He's not going nowhere. And Diaz ain't a winger, really, man.
Actually, can I say a take? It's a bit unfashionable. It's not a popular take. I think Rodrigo's better than Vinny.
No, he is. He is better. In terms of just ability, like natural ability, yeah, I would say he's a better player. Like,
you know what it is? I think Vinny, because he's a little bit more flashy, he was just made out, and obviously he's had a lot of clutch goals. He's gotta been made out to be the franchise player. Like when you look at Madrid, I mean, until Mbappe went there, like who's your main guy? It's Vinny. But I'm not gonna lie, when it comes to every fundamental of football, I don't see that he's better than Rodrigo. I don't think Rodrigo's as fashionable as him. I don't think people go there and be like, oh, I want to buy a Rodrigo jersey. He doesn't have the trim. He doesn't have the little skills and tricks that he does. But he's better than him in almost everything.
He's got more to his game, Staffy. He's got more to his game.
Yeah, I would say this, right? I think I'm playing none of their talents down. Mbappe, Vinicius, and they're all world-class football players. And Rodrigo. It's just one of them in Rodrigo doesn't have the commercial hype behind him. It's a little bit like if you go back 5, 6, 7 years ago at Liverpool, Mane and Trent, and they had the media machine behind them. Salah was kind of just, he's part of it, and he just didn't ever. It's only been the last couple of seasons.
It's the way around. I feel like it was Mane. I feel like it was Mane that was like kind of underplayed.
No, I feel like, again, I'm only going by the Liverpool fans we had on our shows, Liverpool fans in these debates, that the guy, Mane, Trent, Van Dijk, I felt like those three were like this. Even Firmino, like Salah was loved and respected, but he was never the poster boy of that early stage at Liverpool. And I just think Rodrigo, he's not been put up as the poster boy. And this is where it goes against you, though. Like, this is what also happens when you've got a team full of loads of stars. Man United went through this. You get a lot of people now go, yeah, you can't rate Scholes highly. Why? Well, he was never the poster boy of your success. That doesn't mean he wasn't a brilliant football player. Beckham was the poster boy, as an example. Giggs was for a while. Then Wayne Rooney became the poster boy along with Cristiano Ronaldo. Paul Scholes didn't even have an agent. They were never going to be the poster boy. He wanted nothing to do with sort of being the commercial front of a football club. So they say, this is about Standard FC. He says, you say finishing second and third is no different. Yeah, anyone who says that's just stupid, to be honest. It's a stupid take. It's a reductive take, because look at the difference between how good Arsenal are and how good Spurs are. And anyone with it, we're talking generally in football. Don't make it about those two teams, because everybody gets gets emotional and subjective about it. But typically speaking, the team that comes in second every season, the team that comes second every season, so not the same team, there is a better chance that team the following year wins a league title or wins a trophy than the team typically coming 13th. So again, we can make case and points and give examples of where it's gone in reverse. But typically speaking, when you're challenging for a league title, when you're one of the best teams in your country versus a team who's 13th, for the foreseeable future, you've got a much better chance of winning trophies. To say they're both the same thing removes too much context for me. Speaking of context, what's really important this weekend, Man United take on Arsenal, but I've got a question about it. Is it still a big rivalry, boys?
It was a rivalry when we were smacking them 8-2, so I don't know why it's not a rivalry anymore. But what's this?
Yeah, but bro, the fall off from Wenger versus Sir Alex is there to see in it. You know what I mean? Like, you're looking at a United team right now who are literally down there in the dumps. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know how many points you're away from 10th. Let me even go check that right now as I'm speaking. So you're on 33 points and 10th is 42, bro. So you're 9 points behind 10th, bro. Right? That's where you are right now. Yeah. I'm looking at this game this weekend, and to me, it's a nothing game, really, because I'm looking at United. They're missing so many players.
Fans, though.
Say that again?
It's a rivalry because of the fans. There's nothing to be achieved.
It's social media, isn't it? It's a social media rivalry more than anything. But I'm looking at who's
not a social media rivalry. Come on, the fan bases, two huge fan bases, two of the top 3 clubs in England. Of course, they're always going to go at it.
Yeah, but Staffy, top 3 clubs in England by name right now. You
but not
no. Sorry, Don. Sorry, I can't. Again, this is maybe a semantics thing, but we're not top 3 in England by name. We're top 3 in England by history, and you can't, because based on that, like, when do you start? And let me ask you this question based on what you just did. When are you going to start? In what year are you going to start erasing your achievements under Roman?
No, I'm not erasing it. I'm just saying, innit? It's just a figure of speech. I'm just saying right now, listen, everyone knows about United's history. It's self-explanatory, right? I'm saying right now, United are a big club on paper and by name. But in reality, the reality of the situation right now is that you're relegation fodder. Yeah? The reality right now is Ruben Amorim coming out in the fucking media and just yapping. I think him and Maresca are twins, in fact. I think there's something going on there. I know Ruben's got hair, but it's not making sense why he keeps yapping like this, right? You're missing so many players this weekend. Arsenal, they're not going to win the league. Let's be real. I'm looking at them. The pressure's more on them to win the game. Very similar to when we went to Old Trafford. I was expecting to win that game, and I was very disappointed that we dropped points. You know what I'm saying? So I know United are at home. I know Amorim's come out saying that, he's under a lot of pressure. I saw his comments saying he's not going to get as much time as Arteta, right? I need to see him maybe even start Chido. Let Chido crash it on the Gooners now. You know what I mean?
I want to see youngsters play. Just on the rivalry side of things, look, it is still a big rivalry, and this will upset Liverpool and City fans just because of what I'm about to say. The greatest rivalries in English football history, some of which have actually stemmed from historical wars and civil wars in this country, like Leeds and Manchester United as an example. But once they're big, they're always big because the fans never forget. Those Man United and Arsenal haven't been challenging each other for Premier League titles now for the better part of 20 years. But it's one of the first fixtures that all Man United fans and all Arsenal fans look for. Therefore, it's still a big rivalry. Rivalries are not just dictated by who's challenging who for league titles. There's a reason that Newcastle don't like Man United still, and it's because of those 3 or 4 league title races where we beat them every single time to those league titles, where we beat them in the FA Cup final. What we went through with them in the 90s, it still resonates now. I saw a clip from the club, as in the podcaster club with Boovie and that, saying that Alexis Sanchez, what he achieved in football, surpasses that of Ryan Giggs. And I think Rory Jennings quote tweeted saying, I can't believe how people forget how good Giggs was. Well, no, they haven't forgot. That's the point. They haven't forgotten how good he was. Giggs hurt these people for 20 years. So it doesn't matter what stage of your life. Maybe you were always an adult. But this said people of our generation. You were child to a fully grown man. Some people, right, remember Giggs' debut when they were like 5 years old as children themselves. Some of these guys were married with kids when he was still dunking on their team. Of course, they're going to play it down. So for me, the Arsenal-Man United rivalry, I don't see, unless they never get into title races again for another 50, 60, 70 years, and everyone that remembers it dies off. And even then, you pass this stuff down intergenerationally. There's a reason, like, I will tell my kids, it's Arsenal. We've got to beat them. Do you know what I'm saying? But I feel that way about a lot of teams.
I get it. I hear it.
Always a big rivalry. Always a big rivalry.
Of course, that there's going to be a rivalry there, innit? 100%, bro. I'm just saying, it just doesn't hit the same. Like Terry, you obviously lived through the time when you know.
But that's for you. But that's for you. But that's for you because you're not in the rivalry. That's for you, isn't it?
So no, but what I'm asking you a direct question now. Do you still feel the same as how you felt when you used to compete against Wenger? When you're watching Arsenal United games?
I want to beat Arsenal the same today as I've ever done. The only difference as a rivalry, the difference is if we were both fighting out to win the league, that individual game would mean more. But when we played Wigan away from home, final day of the season to win the league, that's the most I've ever wanted to beat Wigan. So of course, if there's a title race involved, it means even more. But in terms of a rivalry, it can be. I've played Arsenal in the last 5, 6, 7 years where neither of us are going for anything in the last 4 or 5 games of the season, and I have still been nervous before the game. Palms are sweaty, vomit on his sweater. I wanted it. I wanted to win. For me, it will be a rivalry that doesn't leave me until the day I die. By the way, Liverpool and City go into that category. Arsenal, Chelsea are in that category as well, 110%. Leeds United are in that category. For me personally, unless someone emerges that we have like a 10-year new rivalry with, I can't see anybody surpassing those 5 teams for me in terms of the level of rivalry that I personally feel towards those clubs. It will always be the same. It'll always be massive for me.
How are you feeling going into the game, Staffy, bro? Have you got any confidence whatsoever? Because you man can do the funniest thing. You man can... If you somehow beat these lot, I promise you, Twitter's gonna get locked off. Twitter's gonna crash. It's actually gonna crash, bro.
You know what it is? It's just like we're so bad, but like it's like the first game when they said they're gonna smash us like 6-0, whatever. I'm like, you're not gonna do that. And we're finding ourselves in a situation again where they think they're gonna smash us. And I don't rate this team, and I think it's horrible. But I think it's just going to be one of those games that's going to end with a very basic, typical score. It's going to be like a 1-0, 2-1. Nothing major is going to happen. They put 7 past, what's their name? PSV. And all of a sudden, I'm meant to forget that they struggled to score against, what's their name? Forest and West Ham. They're not going to smash us, bro. I mean, we should lose. We don't do that well at home until it's a big game. So there you go. You're getting the big game feeling. The players will turn up. The fans will turn up. Do we have the footballing capabilities to go toe-to-toe with them? No, we don't. Not at all. It's going to be very similar to the first 2 games we saw already, where United just need to be good on the transition. We just need to defend very well. They actually don't have the attackers that they had in the first 2 games. So they're going to find it harder to score against our low block. Are we going to take our chances on the transition? I don't know. Are we going to defend well? I think we will. Are we going to make individual mistakes? Bet your ass we will. I don't know who's going to make it. I don't know if Onana's going to throw the ball in the back of his net again. I don't know if Bruno's going to commit another handball. I don't know if someone's going to make a silly tackle and give away a penalty. That's one thing you can guarantee every game. Death, taxes, and United making a mistake every game. There will be a mistake. I just don't know if it's going to make us. They're going to make us pay or not. You know, but
Dalot will get in the final third and freeze again.
Who, us or them?
Dalot.
Oh, Dalot, bro, listen. I swear to God, Dalot's downfall needs to be studied, bro. Because
bro, ain't no downfall, Staffy. Ain't no downfall, bro. Listen, I know he was good. I know he was good last season, the best of a bad bunch. But
he was our player this season.
Cameron was to jump on the terrace last season. I need to get him back on actually, yeah. And for me, I've never rated this guy like that. I've always said, yeah, Dalot has a purple patch, right? But overall, when you watch this guy a lot, he's just not that guy.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take him as the
but here's the thing. I'm not even rating him in anything that's so technical. The difference between last year and this year, first of all, this year he's been played out of position a lot. Like when he was just shit in left wing, and I'm like, surprise, surprise. A right back isn't a good left winger. He might do all the step overs he wants, all the cuts. He's not Ronaldo. I'm sorry. The thing is, though, this season, the lapses of focuses that he has in every game, the brother will see a player in front of him 5 yards away and who'll misplace that pass. Who'll like have the easiest decision to make in the world and who'll fumble it. That is why when I look at him, I'm like, his downfall, mentally at least, we relied on him last season to at least give us a 7 out of 10 every game. This brother right now is struggling to give us a 5 out of 10. Because I'm expecting him to do something stupid every game.
Do you know what's happening? We have moved into a slightly more, might be more than slightly, sophisticated way of playing football that requires the players to think more. So the lack of IQ in a lot of our players is being exposed like never before. Like, a lot of people can sit on Twitter, all right, and sound. Everybody can sit on Twitter and sound. You've all done this in football debate. Someone that tweets at you a lot, and they always have sound arguments back. You get them on camera where they've got to think on the spot, and they're different people. They're umming and ahhing and stuttering and muttering, because what they can't do is take their answer, run it through AI, make it sound really great, and respond to you and make it sort of hard to get out of. They've actually got to articulate. And I think United players are going through that on a footballing sense. They're now being told, especially Dalot, you're meant to have all this technical ability. You're someone that a lot of United fans rated because you passed the eye test. Show us that there's some delivery, there's some end product here. There's something at the end of it. And I actually think the pressure of that is making him even worse. I think it's almost like he's overthinking every single decision that he has to make. And even yesterday, the goal we scored, he had a bad first touch, but he just quickly got it out and passed the ball. And it's like, see, when you just think instinctively, he does the right things. But Dalot, like with a lot of United players, they're just being exposed for how bad they really are. And it's one of the things I said, one of the only elements of this takeover from Amorim and sort of the rebuild that we're going through that I have to hold my hands up and say I've got completely wrong is I did think this squad was better than it's demonstrating. It's as simple as that. I'm not going to sit here and say, and I didn't even make out like it was an amazing squad, but it's been exposed. And again, we could adapt to this squad and we could play in a way that gets the very best out of them. But how far does that take you in the long run? I'll tell you where it takes you. It takes you to where Ten Hag had us as an example. Now we're seeing what happens when you actually... Man United fans for years wanted a more sophisticated way of playing that has seen other top teams in Europe dominate or get near the top or win major trophies. We've been asking for it. What we are not prepared for as a fan base is the pain you have to go through at clearing out 85% of this squad that are nowhere near good enough to make that work. And you actually think about it as well. There's always been this big dichotomy amongst the Man United fans and the fights and arguments over this player's good, this player's better, this player's good, this player's better. When you actually boil it down, most of them weren't. The debates are almost what's the word I want to look for? Impotent. They're ridiculous. They're like a house of cards. There's nothing behind them. There's no substance to them because none of the players were good enough. My baller's killing it. I don't think your baller's good enough either, though, you dickhead. Neither's mine. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I think we've been having these I think we've spent so long internally fighting each other over, is this striker better than that striker? Is this midfielder better than that midfielder? None of them are good enough for us. They're all not of the right standard.
You know what's crazy, Terry? You could finish this weekend in 16th.
Yeah, I'll say this now, though.
I promise you,
on this game, on this game, though, I said it last night and I'll say it again, but for full context. For full context out there for people.
It doesn't matter, bro.
It doesn't matter. For me, I want to see as many youngsters and much rotation for this game as possible. And I'll tell you as to why. I think we have a chance of winning the Europa League. And I'll tell you why. I watched quite a few of the games last night, and I watched a few of the other on the other side of the draw, the 8 o'clock games back. There are teams in there that can beat Man United, but I also think we can beat everybody that's in it. There is a possibility we can beat everyone who's in that tournament. There's a chance. We need money. So for me, if we rest and rotate for these league games and end up coming 17th, but manage to win this Europa League because we've rested players for it, I'm happy with that than playing our strongest team for the Premier League and ended up in 10th versus going out to Sociedad in this week or going out in the quarterfinals to what looks like it's going to be Lyon. Again, and I watched that game, Lyon. They were good. They deserved it. But it was a much more of an even tie between them and Steaua Bucharest. And when we played Steaua Bucharest, we were so much more dominant, which is why I think we can beat everyone who's left in it. Doesn't mean I think we will. But yeah, I do care about the game and I want to win. But Man United need money. And the only way we can raise the money next year is by finding a way to fudge ourselves into that Champions League. That extra 80-odd million you get in revenue is so needed for us to give the manager what he needs. So yeah, I'd rather literally promote the whole under-21 squad this weekend and play them than start our strongest. If we start our strongest 11, fair play to Ruben. That's the way he's doing it. But for me personally, I'd go with a very young, very inexperienced team and try and keep as many players as fresh as possible for Thursday night's match.
You can't do that.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
No, come on, man. You do care. You just said you care about the rivalry, but now you're saying
I do care about the rivalry. But this is, again, I can compartmentalize things. I'd love to beat them. And if the kids did it, it'd be even more beautiful. But I'm thinking longer term here. Man United need to spend as much money as possible to help Ruben or any manager. We need as much money as possible. We've got massive financial issues. So, yes, Duncan on Arsenal would be amazing. But I want to rotate. And look, he's never going to play a complete team of under 21s, right? But I would rather save the strongest team for the Europa League game.
Yeah,
that
but you
for
can't
me
completely
is
rule
more...
over to Arsenal at home, Terry.
No, I get your point. And I get that. And now you're being a bit pedantic with my point. I'm just telling you, I care so much. I do care about the rivalry, and I love the rivalry, and I want to win. But I wouldn't prioritize the rivalry over what's better for my club in the long term. So I hope he doesn't go a full strength team on Sunday.
Yeah, of course, but that's why they should have gotten the job done yesterday, and they didn't. And these players, once again, now you got Arsenal, who won 7 last game. They can absolutely relax midweek this week. So they're going to put their best team against us. And then they don't even need to play a serious team during the week against PSV. Whereas us, we could have ended that game at least 2-0. And instead, we made it 1-1. And now we have everything to fight for on Thursday. And we need to go into another scrap. It's our own doing. And we have to go into this game.
I get that.
We still have to put a strengthened team somehow. This whole idea of throwing Cheetah in. This guy, first of all, he's 17. I'm not throwing him against the best 2 center-back partnership in the league just because I want to win on Thursday. After all the shit he's been talking about Arsenal. You think Gabriel Magalhaes doesn't know? Gabriel Magalhaes knows what this kid has been saying.
I understand your point. And a few people in the comments calling me a flip-flop, you're not understanding me. I do care about the rivalry. Nothing I've said about the rivalry is undone. But the question wasn't earlier, is the rivalry bigger than you being in the Champions League next year? Because if you're asking me that question, the rivalry pales into insignificance over Man United raising more money to give this manager a better squad for next season. I've got to go through these super chats because we're running out of time here. This says, afternoon, Don, talking rubbish when Liverpool are on top, still want to beat Man United. Don't care if they are rubbish. I am for Manchester United. Okay. Thank you, Dinesh. I appreciate that. Beating Spanish, English, German, French champions without conceding the goal is not luck. It's just that we are far superior at this point.
Red Indian, can we stop doing this? Can we not pretend that they weren't lucky against PSG? You were lucky that you have Alisson on your team. Why are we pretending? Hussein said this, and I don't know how this guy gets away with saying these things on this channel. He said if Simeone would have done that, we would have called it a masterclass. I've never seen Simeone concede 27 shots in a game, and they win 1-0. That wasn't a good defensive game. That was an Alisson masterclass.
Yeah, exactly.
I hear that there. D here says, what's your exchange rate between Champions League and Prem? Yesterday, LB said for him, it's 4 Prems for 1 Champions League. I think that's mad. I reckon 2 Prems for a Champions League. Oh, I've never actually thought about it. But I'm going to go with LB because if it's 4-1, on that, even then, Liverpool's their head, isn't they? They've got 19. But yeah, I probably wouldn't go that high, to be fair. 2-1, 2.5-1, something like that, maybe.
I would say 2. I'll say 2 Prems is worth 1 UCR.
That's fair. We can't get criticism since it's a nothing game, Don. Fernandinho and Iniesta joining Pep's coaching staff. Really? I haven't read that. I haven't read that.
Fernandinho said something. He tweeted, he said, I'll see you guys soon. So that one I believe in.
Iniesta moving to England, bro.
Don has got more hype for our game with Leicester.
Hey, listen, I hope we get our job done, man. We play at 2:00, so we play before
you playing Leicester?
We're playing Leicester this weekend,
Easy win.
Bro, just relegate them already, please. I have a
guys,
agenda against
we are live in about half an hour on the Top 6 show. That's why I've got to shoot. But I want to thank Don. I want to thank Staffy for coming on today. To all of our super chatters, everyone who's hit the like button, thank you. This is going to redirect you to the Top 6 show. We've got a great panel with a new Chelsea fan on. So we're going to be previewing this weekend, getting everybody's views and opinions on the games coming up. So join us in about half an hour when we go live. Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon. Peace.